All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack one of the absolute most fascinating and honestly totally paradoxical moments from the ancient epic, the Mahabharata. We are diving headfirst into a story where things are fundamentally not what they seem. We're going to break down this moment of literal mythic proportion, where a vicious, seemingly ungrateful betrayal is in reality a highly calculated rescue mission. It's a wild story about King Nala, a magical serpent, and a single bite that changes absolutely everything. So let's just dive right into this and see how an ancient text can actually offer us a total masterclass in strategic thinking and survival.
So consider this central contradiction for a second. Picture our protagonist, King Nala. He has literally just risked his own life, stepping into a deadly situation to save a completely helpless creature from certain doom. And his reward for this incredible act of bravery? The creature strikes him. It bites him. I mean, from the outside looking in, this looks like the ultimate act of betrayal, right? It defies all logic. Why on earth would a rescued creature immediately attack its savior? Well, to understand this profound paradox, we really have to look closely at the exact circumstances of the rescue and exactly who or what is being saved.
Okay, let's set the scene. Our source text places King Nala in a pretty desperate state. He's wandering through a dense forest, having recently deserted his wife, Damayanti. And as he navigates this wilderness, he comes across this massive, raging conflagration. It's a terrifying fire. But right in the middle of it, he hears a voice crying out, repeatedly saying, "O righteous Nala, come hither." Now Nala, being true to his heroic nature, answers the call. He wades into the fire and finds a mighty Naga, this legendary serpent named Karkotaka, lying in coils and trembling. Karkotaka explains his dire predicament. He says he deceived the great Rishi Narada, a figure of incredible ascetic merit. And in his wrath, Narada cursed the snake to remain entirely immobile, literally stuck in one spot, until a man named Nala arrived to move him. So the snake can't stir a single step to escape the flames. Nala is quite literally his only hope for survival.
So Karkotaka promises to be Nala's friend and instructs him to just pick him up. And to make this a bit easier, the massive prince of snakes magically shrinks himself all the way down to the size of a thumb. Nala scoops him up, carries him right out of the inferno, and finds a safe, open spot totally free from the fire. Naturally, Nala prepares to put the snake down. But Karkotaka stops him with this really strange and, frankly, terribly timed request. The Naga says, "Proceed thou yet, counting a few steps of thine." He promises to do Nala great good while he walks. So Nala starts counting. 1, 2, 3. And the very moment he reaches the 10th step, the snake strikes. He bites Nala right then and there. It feels like a shocking double cross. You're holding a venomous snake you just saved from burning alive, and it makes you count to 10 just to bite you.
But hold on. Let's look at the immediate aftermath of that venom. As Nala is bitten, his physical form speedily undergoes a drastic change. He is absolutely amazed, watching as his legendary famous appearance just vanishes. And right before his eyes, Karkotaka resumes his own magnificent giant form. The serpent comforts the bewildered king, explaining that, hey, this was no accident. Think about the contrast here. Before the bite, Nala was easily recognized. He was a king, totally known for his beauty, and therefore easily hunted by his enemies. But after the bite, he is entirely unrecognizable. Karkotaka explicitly states, "I have deprived thee of thy beauty, so that people may not recognize thee." The bite wasn't a punishment. Actually, scratch that. It was a perfectly executed disguise. It stripped away his recognizable beauty to grant him the ultimate protection of anonymity.
Now, you might be wondering, if the bite was just a disguise, what about the deadly venom? Well, this is where the story drops a brilliant plot twist. Nala's current tragic state, wandering the forest, separated from his wife, cast into all this distress, was caused because he had been deceived by a hidden entity. And Karkotaka reveals that this unseen deceiver is actually dwelling inside Nala. The venom from the bite isn't meant to harm Nala at all. Nala is perfectly innocent here. The venom is a precision strike. It's designed specifically to torture the unseen enemy hiding within his body. As long as that deceiver remains inside Nala, every limb of his will be filled with the Naga's venom, inflicting constant, agonizing pain on the parasite, while Nala himself remains completely safe. The savior wasn't betrayed. He was being cleansed from the inside out.
And this brilliantly illustrates how a perceived curse can actually be an extraordinary blessing. Because of this encounter, Karkotaka grants Nala these incredible boons, heavily armoring him for the harsh world ahead. He will no longer have any fear whatsoever from fanged animals. He has immunity from his enemies, and safety from the wrath of powerful sages and brahmanas. Remarkably, he will feel absolutely zero pain from Karkotaka's own poison. That pain is reserved strictly for the enemy inside him. And to top the whole thing off, the Naga promises that Nala will be ever victorious in battle. So, what looked like a venomous attack at the 10th step was actually the downloading of an overpowering set of protective buffs for our hero.
So this mystical encounter quickly turns into a masterclass in strategy. Karkotaka doesn't just give Nala some magical armor and leave him wandering aimlessly. No, he gives him a concrete, highly specific 4-step roadmap to get his life back. Step 1. Go to the delightful city of Ayodhya. Step 2. Adopt a new identity. With this new, unrecognizable face of his, he is to take the name Vahuka. Step 3. Present himself as a humble charioteer. And Step 4. Seek out a specific ruler, King Rituparna, who is sprung from the noble, ancient line of Ikshwaku. Karkotaka is acting as a master tactician here, positioning his disguised piece on the chessboard exactly where he needs to be.
But why King Rituparna specifically? Well, it all comes down to a perfectly balanced, symbiotic trade. See, Nala has something King Rituparna desperately wants, an unmatched expert knowledge of horses. He is the ultimate charioteer. On the flip side, King Rituparna possesses something that Nala desperately needs, mastery and supreme skill in gambling and dice. Remember, Nala literally lost everything because he was deceived in a game of dice. The strategy here is just flawless. Nala's going to trade his equestrian expertise to acquire the exact skills he lacks. Rituparna will become his friend, and through this exchange of knowledge, Nala will arm himself with the very tool that was used to destroy him in the first place.
And Karkotaka issues an absolute guarantee to Nala here. This isn't just a hopeful wish or a pep talk, it is a promised formula. The Naga assures him, when thou wilt be an adept at dice, thou shalt then have prosperity. Master the dice, and the dominoes will fall. He will reunite with his wife, Damayanti, and his children, and ultimately he will regain his lost kingdom. Karkotaka tells him this truly, commanding him not to let his mind be occupied with sorrow anymore. The path is set. The disguise is highly functional, the skills are going to be acquired, and redemption is entirely within reach.
Of course, an unrecognizable disguise is only useful if you actually have a way to take it off once the mission is complete, right? And that brings us to the ultimate failsafe. Before making himself invisible, Karkotaka hands Nala 2 pieces of celestial cloth. This is essentially a magical garment. When Nala finally achieves his goals, when he is ready to step out of the shadows and reclaim his throne, all he has to do is remember the Naga and put on this attire. The moment he wears it, he will instantly get back his own beautiful, recognizable form. It's just a brilliant reset button, ensuring that Nala's true identity is perfectly preserved, safely tucked away in this celestial fabric while he fights his battles in the guise of Vahuka.
Which brings us to our final takeaway for this explainer. This story from the Mahabharata is thousands of years old, for sure, but its psychology, it's incredibly modern. King Nala thought he was being betrayed and poisoned. In reality, he was being disguised, purged of a parasite, heavily armored, and given a strategic master plan to win back everything he loved. It challenges us to look at the bites we take in our own lives. How often are our most painful setbacks actually disguised armor, preparing us for the battles ahead? Sometimes, what feels like a venomous ending is actually the strategic beginning of your redemption story. Keep that in mind the next time you face a sudden, inexplicable setback. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this deep dive into ancient strategy gives you a whole new lens for viewing your own challenges.